What's up, Vetters? Patrick here with Vetted. Today, we are talking about this.
We are live today with NASA experts who are excited to share the latest images we have of the interstellar comet 3I Atlas.
Are you aware of this giant asteroid that's like...
Oh, yeah, it's supposed to be coming or something?
Yeah, some people are saying it's a big alien ship. Other people are saying it's an asteroid.
I have not remote viewed it. I'm very interested in it.
All right, Sebastian, big question. While you were remote viewing 3I Atlas, this comet, did you pick up on any type of agenda for why it's approaching Earth?
Yeah, but I don't think I want to talk about that.
Just to give you a peek, here's one of the images from the closest physical instrument we had to the comet.
Well, there were no new insights as to the properties of this object. From this NASA press conference, they pretty much repeated things that we already knew.
But 3I Atlas is a comet.
All right, Vetters, please hit that like button. That really helps out the videos. And of course, if you're not already subscribed, hit that subscribe button. Y'all, I'm trying to get to 100,000 subscribers by the end of the year. And we just hit 90,000 subscribers. I want to thank everyone so much. All right, so what is this video about? Well, today we're going to cover 3I Atlas and take a closer look at whether this could be an alien spaceship or is it just a comet, right? Now, last night they had a press conference for NASA where they finally released their images because you see there was a government shutdown and they couldn't talk about it or release any of the images they had, and everyone was waiting.
We are live today with NASA experts who are excited to share the latest images we have of the interstellar comet 3I Atlas. 3I means third interstellar, and Atlas refers to the NASA-funded Atlas Survey telescope, which made the discovery.
And I did a live stream, and we were like, okay, let's see these pictures. And it was literally dots and blurbs and blobs and whatever. It really wasn't that exciting, to be honest with you. In fact, here's me taking a really close look at the pictures they showed. Yeah, it was basically that. Now, you know, they were a little weird during it, to be honest with you. Now, personally, I think this is just a comet, but I'm keeping my mind open. But, you know, they initially just were very little pretentious about the idea that it could be some sort of alien thing, right? I mean, take a look at this guy.
To start with, I'd like to address the rumors right at the beginning. I think it's important that we talk about that. This object is a comet. It looks and behaves like a comet and all evidence points to it being a comet. But this one came from outside the solar system, which makes it fascinating, exciting, and scientifically very important. This is only the third interstellar object like this that humanity has ever found. And a little bit more about the rumors. I think it's very important, and I'm actually very excited that a lot of the world was speculating about the comet while NASA was in a period where we couldn't speak about it due to the recent government shutdown. I think what I took away from that whole experience and watching that as we were working during the shutdown was just how interested and how excited people were about the possibility of what this comet could be. There was a lot of speculation about what it could be, but what I think is really awesome is that folks are interested in this incredible finding that we observed and that came from the heavens, and what that means, what it could mean about how magical the universe could be. It expanded people's brains to think about how magical the universe could be. And I'll tell you, here at NASA, we think that every day. And so it's really great that you were able to join us while we were, not able to comment because of the shutdown constraints about what that comet is, because we think the universe is a magical place, and we spend your treasure and we spend all of our time trying to make sure that we explore that and share with you as much as we can. In fact, we want very much to find signs of life in the universe. In fact, just a few months ago, we were with you and we talked about what we think might be the signal from ancient life on the surface of Mars, from our amazing machines that have been roving the planet for 30 years to look for those things. That is something that's really important for us to learn about and discover. It could be an amazing discovery if and when we can confirm that. But 3I Atlas is a comet.
And he basically, that's the only time he spoke. And he just seemed very smug about it, to be honest with you. I think they really missed an opportunity to educate people on what would it look like if it was alien? What things could we look out for? They just were like, oh, thanks for wondering. Thanks for thinking about it. Oh my God, we're here. But now we're here to take over, okay? It's like, and that guy, he didn't speak the rest of the press conference. I think he was just there for that, right? He did show one picture, this one.
Just to give you a peek, here's one of the images from the closest physical instrument we had to the comet, from the HiRISE instrument on our Mars Reconnaissance Orbiter, taken on October 2nd as the comet sailed by at a distance of 19 million miles from the instrument. You can see that Comet 3I Atlas looks like a fuzzy white ball. That ball is a cloud of dust and ice called the coma, which is shed by the comet as it continues its trajectory towards the sun.
Which, again, isn't really that exciting. I mean, you have, amateur astronomers putting up better pictures. Take a look at this. I mean, how's that possible? How is this multi-billion-dollar space agency not able to get a clear picture or do something better? And you have amateur astronomers doing better work, right? Why aren't all of NASA in their offices with telescopes capturing stuff? It's just crazy. I mean, I can't wrap my head around that, to be honest with you. And what's also kind of just mysterious about 3I Atlas in a lot of ways, I went to make an AI video at the beginning. You saw a few that I made there, right? I always do that at the very beginning. That's the only place I use AI, and I label it AI. But anyway, I went to Gemini to make a photo, and I just put in 3I Atlas. I didn't put anything else in, and it told me this. It was like some missile radar tracking system. Wait, what? So then I Googled it. I'm thinking, oh my God, did I stumble upon something here? And it's like, no, never heard of that. So I'm like, what the hell's going on? Is AI trying to tell me something about 3I Atlas, or what? Or is AI just that stupid? I totally see why people are confused about this, right? The tools that are given to us to look into this even don't know what they're doing. Right? So of course people are like, what the hell's going on? And that NASA press conference was super weird. And look, let's take a closer look at some comments that Dr. Avi Loeb has made. He's a Harvard professor who's been going around town telling everyone that this thing could be alien, right? I mean, but secretly he thinks it's just a comet. He's admitted that so much in a couple of interviews, but he just wants people to keep an open mind that this could be something else. And he's pointing out all the different anomalies about it, and then wondering why in the NASA press conference they didn't really talk about a lot of those anomalies. So he made a couple rounds on the news channels. Let's take a look at a few clips. Here's the first one.
Finally, we get some images from NASA. So they say they are opening a window into other solar systems. What was your reaction to what we just saw and heard?
Well, there wasn't much news, I must say. An hour before that press conference, I was asked by a reporter, what do I expect? And I said that I don't expect big news. NASA will repeat the official mantra that 3I Atlas is a natural comet and that they were unable to process the data until now because of the government shutdown. And probably the HiRISE image will show a fuzzy ball of light like the Hubble image. But I hoped to be surprised, and I was not.
Oh, man.
And look, I've had Dr. Avi Loeb on my channel a couple times and interviewed him. He's a great guy, very passionate about this topic and very passionate about the pushback he's gotten for even considering things could be alien, because he first became very famous when he started talking about Oumuamua, which was the last interstellar object that came through, right? And he just was so like, wait, what do you mean? I can't even talk about this stuff, right? Like, what the hell? And I agree with him there. The only issue I've had with him going around town talking about 3I Atlas is that he's given it like a 40% chance that it's a spaceship based on his own studies and this and that. 40%, I mean, that's a lot, y'all. That's a lot, right? So I don't know, that seemed too much when, again, he's saying, nah, I bet it's just a natural object, a comet, okay. So why are you saying that, right? So I don't know, but I get his whole point of we should consider these things and be open to it, right?
I look at that picture and all those dots look the same to me. So tell me, why? Tell me about this picture that we just saw showing the comet.
Well, there were no new insights as to the properties of this object. From this NASA press conference, they pretty much repeated things that we already knew. We knew about the Hubble data, the Webb telescope data, and then the new data, for example, the image from the high-rise camera on board the Mars Reconnaissance Orbiter that should have been the sharpest that we have, just showed a fuzzy ball of light similar to the Hubble image that we already saw before. And there was some data from MAVEN on Mars that indicated hydrogen, but these are details. Nothing in the big picture changed. And, the point is that the presenters should have emphasized what we don't understand rather than insist about what is familiar. And, as I say, the foundation of science is the humility to learn something new rather than the arrogance of expertise. That's what the public resonates with. And I pointed out 12 anomalies about this object. The most important among them is the size. This object is a million times more massive than the first interstellar object, 1,000 times more massive than the second interstellar object.
Now, this newscaster was hilarious. She just didn't know what was going on. And honestly, that's a very authentic place to come from. She wasn't Miss Know-It-All, but I think that's where a lot of us are, right? That's where your aunt or your grandma is talking about 3I Atlas. What's going on? I heard it's an alien spaceship. That's basically it. And they do bring up some overall better points about asteroids or things like this. And, should we be worried here on Earth about those things?
All right, if Congress wants you to investigate, wants NASA to investigate something to find out if it's going to impact the Earth, what can we do anyway? I mean, if it's coming here, if let's say this particular comet we're going to hit the Earth, and we just should have buckle up and what would happen?
No, if we're dealing with rocks or icy rocks, we can deflect them. If we catch them early enough, just a small nudge could actually make them pass far from Earth. And so that's the trick. And in fact, there was a mission called DART where NASA demonstrated that colliding a spacecraft with an object can deflect it significantly. So that's possible. There are various methods to deflect them. But this method of preventing a rock from hitting the Earth does not work for a technological object because it can maneuver, or it may have an intent, or it may have abilities that we cannot cope with. It's just like ants in the crack of a pavement looking at a biker that passes nearby. They cannot do much about it. And that may be the situation when we encounter alien technology.
All right, we're going to know more in about a month, or it comes closest to the Earth in about a month, right? I think that's what you told me last time.
On December 19th, and in the coming weeks, we'll have a trove of data, a flood of data that would be very helpful at figuring out all the properties. We already saw in recent weeks 7 jets coming from this object, some towards the sun, some away from the sun. And we haven't seen yet a very detailed image from a large telescope, but I expect that in the coming weeks. So by the holidays, I expect us to know much more about this object. And let's just hope that it will not deliver any unwanted gifts to Earth. That's all.
Okay, what's the unwanted gift? I'll bite on that one. What unwanted gift?
Okay, so there are 2 possibilities. If it's a natural object, it could, for example, fragment. There could be pieces of it that make their way closer to Earth. Or if it's a mothership, a technological mothership, you could have mini probes that are released and reach close to Earth. So we need to monitor whether there is any unusual activity near Earth. We have a lot of eyes on the sky. And also near Mars. There are orbiters there are rovers there. Just check for unusual activity, any objects that arrived that were not there to start with.
It's so fascinating to listen to this. It makes me think, I wish I hadn't gone to law school. I should have gone, because it's just endless.
It's never too late, Greta. I'll be delighted to work with you if you wanted.
Well, I think I first need to go back and try, working on my high school chemistry. I was a little bit.
Oh no, you can come to my class. I teach some of the basics on this, and it won't take you long to figure things out. The beauty of science is that It's not up to people to decide what nature is. We just need to observe nature and figure it out. It's like a detective story, so it's much better than politics, because in politics, you get a lot of misinformation.
Now, some other interesting things out there have been people remote viewing. Okay, and if you're not familiar with what remote viewing is, it's basically, you can use your mind to see things, right, at breaking space and time, because people can see into the future, they can see into the past, they can see in other places that they're not, right? They basically can transport their mind to other places and see things, right? So, I've practiced a little remote viewing myself, and I decided, well, let me remote view 3i Atlas. Well, this is what I saw. Okay. All right. That was just a joke. Now, let's take a closer look at someone who's a little more familiar with remote viewing. Her name is Angela Ford, and she recently did an interview with Chris Ramsey on his channel, Area 52. And during the interview, at the very end, Chris Ramsey asked her about 3i Atlas. This is what she said.
Always good questions.
Okay.
Have you RV'd or have an opinion on 3i Atlas, its origin and nature by Andy Lee Fisher? Are you aware of this giant asteroid that's like...
Oh, yeah, it's supposed to be coming or something?
Yeah, some people are saying it's a big alien ship. Other people are saying it's an asteroid.
I have not remote viewed it. I'm very interested in it, and I may go remote view it, but I'm very, very interested. I hope it is something exciting.
I certainly hope it's something exciting.
Yeah, but no, I have not remote viewed it.
Could you keep me in touch if you do?
Yes, I will. I will go home and do it, and I will email you my results. Absolutely, I will.
That would be amazing. We'll if we can do that within the next week or so, I can probably attach that to this segment here.
Okay.
And people can see the result. That would be very exciting. Cool. All right.
Well, she did remote view it and send back her notes to Chris to include in the episode. And this is it right here. She writes, baffling scientist, very fast movement, pushing forward, very colorful, and has drive, was designed, not harmful to the human race. Once studied, 3i Atlas will prove beneficial to us. My feeling is the Atlas 3i accidentally veered off course because Atlas 3i was designed. Leads to alien technology. What's interesting there is she calls it 3i Atlas and then calls it Atlas 3i. I don't know. But, she was kind of just like, oh, I haven't remote viewed that. Wait, what? The remote viewing community is very small, and she's a leader in it and very well known, a legend, if you will, right? Part of Stargate, Project Stargate. And so it was just interesting that she's like, hadn't done it yet, but then does it. And she basically just said a bunch of things that are just in the news. Nothing there was quite peculiar, right? So I don't know. It's like, you just making that up? How does she know it's alien, right? But that's the thing with remote viewing. You just put what you think. Doesn't mean anything. How are we supposed to prove that one way or the other? We can't. There's no proof or evidence. We're just left with this woman's ideas or thoughts or dreams about it, right? Which, hey, to be fair, she wasn't saying anything in particular. She just, hey, this is what I did and do with it what you want. So, all right, that's fair enough. But other people have been a little more certain about their remote viewing of 3i Atlas, like this guy right here.
That's a gigantic comet, the size roughly of New York City or bigger. Mm-hmm. What are we talking about here? Like how many people or how many Draco can a craft that size house?
So I remote viewed the craft and I got direct information from that.
Okay.
And my take on that, I did just remote view the amount of people on board. I also remote viewed the technology what's inside, the whole decks, the pods, the whole thing on the inside. So I can see they are using antimatter and fusion technology. And they also have pods housing less than 5 million direct reptilian soldiers inside. And so they're all dormant. They're not using space. They're not eating. They're not doing anything. They're just basically just waiting to be awakened. and they're all in pods.
You use the word soldier.
Yes.
That is a little unnerving.
Yeah, I mean, the Draco race is known to be fighting wars in other galaxies, and obviously they destroyed the Pleiadians' home planet. So that's in their genes. That's what they do. And at the same time, it's for their own safety that they are trying to protect themselves. They don't know what's coming. They don't know who they're going to be facing. So that's why they keep those soldiers in that situation. They're not active. So when they travel through space, they just keep them in that state.
Oh, so it doesn't mean they're necessarily coming here with soldiers to attack.
That's correct. It doesn't mean that they're coming in to wake them up all and, to invade Earth. That's not the plan. I'm just saying that they are there on, just in case, because it is a mothership.
All right, Sebastian, big question. While you were remote viewing 3I Atlas, this comet, did you pick up on any type of agenda for why it's approaching Earth?
Yeah, but I don't think I want to talk about that. It's just, I believe that, yes, there is an agenda from the Dracos, but at the same time, for whatever I've seen moving forward, either way, humanity will prevail. And with the help of the Galactic Alliance, I feel pretty confident that whatever is at play won't be successful.
Okay, fair enough.
So I only have one thing to say to this guy.
You're what the French call les incompetents. What?
I mean, this guy is so certain that 3I Atlas 1 is headed to Earth. There's 5 million reptilian aliens just lying dormant. Soldiers, mind you, waiting. Waiting for what, right? Like, again, no proof or evidence. He's saying the most outlandish things as if you should prepare or be worried or, like, what do we do with that information? What do we do? You just, that's, I mean, what the, what? It's just crazy, man. There are some just bonkers people out there. And again, I'm not saying remote viewing isn't true, but I don't believe that guy for 1 second at all, right? And it's a little reckless to say things like that. And again, when you're so certain, if we just said, well, I think this, but I don't know, he's not saying that. And not only that, he knows their agenda, but he can't talk about it, right? Jesus Christ. So look, it's at least entertaining, and there's way more he said about 3I Atlas. It's headed for Earth too, by the way, so again, what do we do with this? What is he going to come back when 3I Atlas just goes away? And is he going to come back and apologize? No, he'll move the goalpost and say something else. It's just stupid. Okay. I'm not saying remote viewing is stupid. Because I've tried it myself. I have an upcoming documentary called Psionics, where I spent all summer looking into this stuff. And there could be something there. We don't understand the power of the mind or consciousness. So I'm not dismissing anything. But me personally, that guy's full of shit. Now, so what do we think? Is 3I Atlas a comet, or is it actually a spaceship? Well, personally, I think it's just a comet. But I totally understand why people are confused, or, they're getting mixed signals from NASA and other agencies about this. And, you've been fooled once, you're going to think people are fooling you again. And I totally understand where people are coming from. They're acting weird about it, right? And it's just strange, right? So I totally understand the distrust of some of these, government institutions from America, right? Like, I get it. I get why people are wondering. Now, granted, let's say you think it's an alien spaceship. What are you going to do about it? Nothing, right? There's nothing you can do. So it doesn't really matter what people believe. If you think it's alien, cool. If you think it's just a comet, cool. Just get on with our lives, right? So have fun with it, but don't listen to remote viewers like that other crazy French dude and start building a bunker or, moving your family out to the country. Like, don't take any dramatic steps. I mean, do what you want. It's your life. But my recommendation is to take it easy, slow down. We'll still see what's going on. Again, the one scientist who has been out saying this could be alien, he thinks it's a comet. So I would just say, para. All right, y'all. Thank y'all so much for watching. We'll see you guys in the next one. Remember, every day's a gift, y'all. Peace.
I just got a comment, man. I'm watching your stuff right now. I've been watching you for 2 years. This is Sean. Good looking out, man. Thanks for all the stuff you do, bro. That's all I got to say. You showed them, man. You told them it wasn't real. Thanks, man.